Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Friday Night Scripture Reading. We've been working our way through the book of Exodus, and last week we ended with Exodus 31, and I didn't want to read Exodus 32 because it's a very depressing chapter. So we'll move on to 32, reading out of the LSB, Exodus 32. Then the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain. So the people assembled about Aaron and said to him, "Arise, make us gods who will go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." And Aaron said to them, "Tear off the gold rings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." Then all the people tore off the gold rings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron, and he took this from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made it into a molten calf. And they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." And Aaron looked and built an altar before it. And Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast to Yahweh." So the next day they arose early and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, Go down at once, for your people, whom you have brought from the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded them. They have made for themselves a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed to it and said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." And Yahweh said to Moses, "I have seen this people, and behold, they are a stiff-necked people. Now then, let me alone, that my anger may burn against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make you a great nation." Then Moses entreated the favor of Yahweh, his God, and said, "O Yahweh, why does your anger burn against your people, whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a strong hand? Why should the Egyptians speak, saying with evil intent, he brought them out to kill them in the mountain and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your burning anger and relent concerning doing harm to your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself, and you said to them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of the heavens. And all this land of which I have spoken I will give to your seed, and they shall inherit it forever." So Yahweh relented concerning the harm which he said he would do to his people. Then Moses turned and went down from the mountain, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in his hand, tablets which were written on both sides. They were written on one side and the other. Now the tablets were the work of God, and the writing was writing of God engraved on the tablets. Then Joshua heard the sound of the people as they shouted. And he said to Moses, "There is a sound of war in the camp." But he said, "It is not the sound of the cry of triumph, nor is it the sound of the cry of defeat, but the sound of singing I hear." Now it happened, as soon as Moses came near the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger burned. And he threw the tablets from his hand and shattered them at the foot of the mountain. Then he took the calf which they had made and burned it with fire, and ground it to powder, and scattered it over the surface of the water, and made the sons of Israel to drink it. Then Moses said to Aaron, "What did this people do to you, that you have brought such great sin upon them?" And Aaron said, "Do not let the anger of my Lord burn. You know the people yourself, that they are prone to evil. Indeed, they said to me, 'Make gods for us who will go before us.' For this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." And I said to them, "Whoever has any gold, let them tear it off." So they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. Aaron's telling quite the tale there, isn't he? I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. Verse 25, Now Moses saw that the people were out of control, for Aaron had let them get out of control to be a derision among their enemies. So Moses stood at the gate of the camp and said, "Whoever is for Yahweh, come to me." And all the sons of Levi gathered together to him. And he said to them, "Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, every man among you put his sword upon his thigh and go back and forth from gate to gate in the camp, and kill every man his brother, and every man his friend, and every man his neighbor. So the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. Then Moses said, Be ordained today to Yahweh, for every man has been against his son and against his brother, in order that he may bestow a blessing upon you today. Now it happened on the next day that Moses said to the people, You yourselves have committed a great sin, but now I am going up to Yahweh. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin. Then Moses returned to Yahweh and said, Alas, this people has committed a great sin, and they have made gods of gold for themselves. But now if you will forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out from your book which you have written. And Yahweh said to Moses, Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book. But now go, guide the people where I told you. Behold, my angel shall go before you, nevertheless. In the day when I will punish them for their sin. Then Yahweh smote the people because of what they did with the calf which Aaron had made. See, it's pretty depressing. There are glimmers of hope in there. Moses coming in to attempt to be a substitute for his people. But Moses isn't a fitting substitute. Only the Lord Jesus is a fitting substitute. All right, chapter 33 of Exodus. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, Go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought up from the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, To your seed I will give it. And I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in your midst, because you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way. Then the people heard this sad word and went into mourning, and none of them put on his ornaments. So Yahweh said to Moses, Say to the sons of Israel, You are a stiff-necked people. Should I go up in your midst for one moment, I would consume you. So now put off your ornaments from you, that I may know what I shall do with you. So the sons of Israel stripped themselves of the ornaments from Mount Horeb onward. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, a good distance from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. And everyone who sought Yahweh would go out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. And it happened, whenever Moses went out to the tent, that all the people would arise and stand, each at the entrance of his tent, and gaze after Moses until he entered the tent. And it happened, whenever Moses entered the tent, that the pillar of cloud would descend and stand at the entrance of the tent, and Yahweh would speak with Moses. And all the people would see the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent. And all the people would arise and worship, each at the entrance of his tent. Thus Yahweh used to speak to Moses face to face, just as a man speaks to his friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, and his attendant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. Then Moses said to Yahweh, See, you say to me, Bring up this people, but you yourself have not let me know whom you will send with me. Moreover, you have said, I have known you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. So now I pray you, if I have found favor in your sight, let me know your ways, that I may know you, so that I may find favor in your sight. See also that this nation is your people. And he said, My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. Then he said to him, If your presence does not go with us, do not lead us up from here. Indeed, how then can it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people? Is it not by your going with us, so that we, I and your people, may be distinguished from all the other people who are upon the face of the earth? Then Yahweh said to Moses, I will also do this thing of which you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I have known you by name. Then Moses said, I pray you, show me your glory. And he said, I myself will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show compassion on whom I will show compassion. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live. Then Yahweh said, behold, there is a place by me. You shall stand there on the rock. And it will come about, while my glory is passing by, that I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. That section right there gives me chills. I'm going to keep reading. Exodus 34. Now Yahweh said to Moses, carve out for yourself 2 stone tablets, like the former ones, and I will write on the tablets the words that were on the former tablets, which you shattered. So be prepared by morning, and come up to me in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me, on the top of the mountain. And no man is to come up with you, nor let any man be seen anywhere on the mountain. Even the flocks and the herds may not graze in front of the mountain. So he carved out 2 stone tablets, like the former ones. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went to Mount Sinai, as Yahweh had commanded him, and he took 2 stone tablets in his hand. Then Yahweh descended in the cloud and stood there with him, and he called upon the name of Yahweh. Then Yahweh passed by in front of him and called out, Yahweh, Yahweh, God, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in loving kindness and truth, who keeps loving kindness for thousands, who forgives iniquity, transgression, and sin. Yet he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children and on the grandchildren to the 3rd and 4th generation. And Moses made haste to bow low toward the earth and worship. And he said, if now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, I pray, let the Lord go along in our midst, even though they are a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us as your own inheritance. Then God said, behold, I am going to cut a covenant. Before all your people I will do wondrous deeds which have not been created in all the earth, nor among any of the nations, and all the people among whom you live will see the working of Yahweh. For it is a fearful thing that I am going to do with you. Be sure to keep what I am commanding you this day. Behold, I am going to drive out the Amorite before you, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Beware lest you cut a covenant with the inhabitants of the land into which you are going, lest it become a snare in your midst. But rather you are to tear down their altars, and shatter their sacred pillars, and cut down their Asherim. For you shall not worship any other God, for Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God, lest you cut a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they play the harlot with their gods, and sacrifice to their gods, and one of them invite you to eat of his sacrifice. And you take some of his daughters for your sons, and his daughters play the harlot with their gods, and cause your sons also to play the harlot with their gods. You shall make for yourself no molten gods. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, which I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib you came out of Egypt. The first offspring from every womb belongs to me, even of all your male livestock, the first offspring from cattle and sheep. And you shall redeem with a lamb the first offspring from a donkey. And if you do not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. You shall redeem all the firstborn of your sons. None shall appear before me empty-handed. You shall work 6 days, but on the 7th day you shall rest. Even during plowing time and harvest you shall rest. And you shall celebrate the Feast of Weeks, that is, the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the Feast of Ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year all your males are to appear before the Lord Yahweh, the God of Israel. For I will dispossess nations before you and enlarge your borders, And no man shall cover your land when you go up 3 times a year to appear before Yahweh your God. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread. And the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover shall not be left over until morning. You shall bring the very first of the first fruits of your ground into the house of Yahweh your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Then Yahweh said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance with these words I have cut a covenant with you and with Israel. So he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat bread or drink water, and he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. Now it happened when Moses was coming down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hand, as he was coming down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone because of his speaking with him. Then Aaron and all the sons of Israel saw Moses, and behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Then Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers in the congregation returned to him, and Moses spoke to them. And afterward all the sons of Israel came near, and he commanded them everything that Yahweh had spoken to him on Mount Sinai. Then Moses finished speaking with them, and put a veil over his face. But whenever Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he would take off the veil until he came out. And then he would come out and speak to the sons of Israel what he had been commanded. And the sons of Israel would see the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. So Moses would return the veil over his face until he went in to speak with him. Praise the Lord for the reading of his word. If the Lord wills it, we will see you this Lord's Day. Sunday school is at 10 a.m., corporate worship at 11 a.m., evening worship 6 p.m. Y'all have a great weekend. Goodbye.